Hey, it's Camila Stevenson. Around here, we talk about wealth, and we're going to do it again today because I have something to say about crypto and the fact that they called it a scam for so many years, and now all of a sudden, XRP is the crypto of the year, right? And so it's off. And so I want to get my comments on that, and I want to talk some common sense for a minute. Okay, share this video. And you know what? Let me ask you from the beginning. Do you think XRP will reach 3 digits in 10 years? Do you think XRP will reach 3 digits in 10 years? Put a 1 in the chat if you agree. Put a 2 in the chat if you don't. I was going to say 5 years, but I'm going to say 10 years. All right. We're just going to, somebody said 4. What's going on? Yes. Okay. I see some ones in the chat. What does 4 represent? Is it like maybe it will, maybe it won't, right? Yeah, I saw that about the $3 million lawsuit. So hopefully what he was saying was correct, because sometimes it's kind of hard if you are, especially, the thing about lawsuits is if somebody is going to lose a lot from what you say, and what you say is inaccurate, then that can really cost you. So I don't know what is, and he had a lot to say. So we'll see what unfolds of that. But I guess Jake is saying, and I'm responding to a comment. I didn't put it up, but I'm responding to you, D Money. Hopefully what he said was right. We'll see. Maybe it's just a lesson learned, but obviously the lawyers probably are the ones that suggested that. Some people may think it's harsh. Other people may think you got to be careful what you say about somebody who has a lot to lose. So we'll see what comes of that. All right, what's up from Tennessee? So I see most of you all think that XRP will reach 3 digits in 10 years. Do you think, put a 1 in the chat if you think it'll reach 10 digits in 5 years, or 2 in the chat if you're like, nah. Best man said no, not XRP won't reach 3 digits in 10 years. And I'm just curious, do you think in, somebody said 25 cents, 4 digits. All right, I believe it'll be 200,000. Did we ever look into the I still got to look into the XPR network. I got you, who are you who I am. And I had that down too. So I will do that. I will do that for you. The next time I come on, you'll see that. All right. I'm looking at some of the comments. I'm gonna just talk a little. What's up, millionaires? What's up, Corey? You're a bunch of drug dealers and you're all a bunch of, okay. Let me just show this. Somebody said you're all a bunch of drug dealers and criminals. That's a lie. All right, let's move on. Jake is a flake. I see some people don't like Jake. Doesn't matter how long it goes up, Louisiana. All right. So I'm just trying to, somebody said 25 cents. Like, okay, you think XRP is going to 25 cents? 106 months. All right. Let me just say this. Let me say this. The perfect price can't be low. I mean, if you study XRP and what the use case is, I can't see why anybody wouldn't think it would go to higher digits. But let's say, what a wild statement. Nah, zero. Let's, I just want to talk a little bit of common sense real quick and share my thoughts. First of all, it is completely wild that, and I went back and looked at all the clips about how cryptocurrency is a scam, right? And then all of a sudden XRP, is the coin of the year, basically. And this is the way that I think about it. First of all, a lot of people are still trolling XRP because of where the price is right now today. Okay. So it must be disgruntled. Oh God. People are missing out on Bitcoin, and they're afraid of missing out again. Yeah. So some people, and I really believe this comment right here, the game is all about patience. Some people are looking at XRP at the price today. And I just want to give you some perspective, okay? Because most people's opinion of XRP is about today's price. If you can't look beyond today, it's going to be very hard for you to invest in any asset, okay? And the reason why I say this is because let me just do the math. Let me do the math real quick. So if XRP were to reach, let's start with 5 years, right? Because a lot of you all say you think it'll reach there in 5 years. If XRP was to reach $100 in 5 years, and let me give you some perspective real quick. That would be at the price around $2 today, just to make it clean math. That would wind up being, and I'm looking at the numbers, a 50x return. And the percentage gain over 5 years would be a total gain of 4,900%, almost 5,000%. Okay. So in 5 years, if XRP were to get to 3 digits in 5 years, that would be a 5,000% gain. Same thing in 10 years, it would be still a 5,000% gain, but it would be 10 years. But a 5,000% over 5 years would be 118, well, 4,900% would be 118.6% increase every year. You tell me how that's not a good investment. If you make it 10 years, and let's not make it even sooner, right? For anybody who think it may go there sooner, but even in 10 years, if you put that in half, if you break that in half, you're looking at a 48% per year compound. How is that not a good investment? The only way you think this is not a good investment is because you're looking at the price today. And here's what I want to say. First of all, nothing I say is financial advice. I'm not telling you what to buy, hold, or sell. This is for educational purposes only. But if you want a good percentage right now today, I think you should take your money and go to the casino and try to bet on a blackjack game. Right? If you want quick returns and you want to gamble with your money, go to the casino and gamble with your money. Now, just to give you some perspective, all right? And I'm going to share what I believe about XRP and this whole idea of it being a scam. And I will talk about the XRP ledger in just a minute. Like the video if you haven't already. Amazon, I just wrote this down. Amazon IPO'd in 1997 at, I think it was $1.50 to $2 or something like that, right? And I'm not telling y'all to go to the casino. I'm making a point, right? Nothing I say is financial advice. I'm being funny, okay? I'm being funny. I don't suggest anybody go to the casino and gamble their money. That's the whole point. I'm being a bit sarcastic, right? Amazon IPO'd in 1997 at around $2. Now, some of you all don't realize that, because you see the prices of Amazon today at whatever price it is, I don't know what the price is right now today. And you think that it took all that time to get, you're looking at the price today on the chart. Amazon today is at $247.55, but you do understand they have gone through stock splits. So let me just explain to you how much Amazon would be worth if they never went through a stock split. I hope these numbers are right, but I believe they are. If it never went through, because these, just like Netflix was at over $1,000 and then it came down to 100, Amazon would be worth $30,000 to $35,000 if they never went through a stock split. Okay. When you go through a stock split, it's like with Netflix. If you own, let's say Netflix was $1,000 and you owned one Netflix, if it goes to $100, now you own 10 Netflixes. Okay. So you just get the increase of the stock when they do a stock split. But all of these companies do stock splits because, of course, if Amazon went to $30,000, people are going to be like, oh, it's too expensive, when they don't understand it's about the percentage of growth. If you invest $100 in there, whatever percentage it gains that year is the percentage on your $100. So you don't always have to buy stocks that are cheap, like, oh, I only got $100. I got to buy a stock under $100. No, you got to buy stocks where you know that there's going to be a good ROI return. It doesn't matter how much that stock is. If you invest in Bitcoin and it doubles, then your money doubles, whatever you invested in it. Okay. So in addition to that, NVIDIA, Amazon, Apple, and even AMD came out at market price at like $1 to $2. All right. Why was they so low? Because the market hadn't priced what they had become yet. The market hadn't priced it in. Okay. So they all started off with a couple of dollars. So I say that to say, you cannot look at some of these assets at what the price is right now. Why? Because the price is what lags, especially when you're talking about adoption. Thank you. We're gonna get together on Monday, right, for a live. So I heard the price was, I believe that there are the powers that be that has already come up with a price of what XRP is going to be, right? And so let me just give you something to think about, because I want to help you to think through this, because you can't, like, it bothers me that the headlines all of a sudden are, it's really weird. I'm like, y'all have never said anything about XRP. Now y'all talking about XRP is the coin of the year. It is just so bizarre to me. Okay. And, you know, again, there were year after year, crypto is a scam. Stay away from it. You know what I mean? Like, if you own it, basically the implications were that you're reckless, that you are uninformed, you chasing something that doesn't have real value. And that message came from the biggest financial news networks in the world for years. It's a scam. I looked at clip after clip after clip, and now the same networks is calling XRP the trade of the year. So if you see a shift like that, right, it's worth kind of asking why, because narratives don't just flip that fast just because an asset suddenly changed. Nothing about the asset changed. My question is, let me ask y'all this. Who decides when something stops being called a scam? Who decides that, right? And pay attention. Why are the institutions, why is that decision always after institutions have already been involved? Even they said it on the clip, like, it looked like institutions were loading up and positioning. Why all of a sudden is it said now after, right? And so have a plan. That is so true. Have a plan, right? And XRP wasn't meant for retail investors. I think people still don't know what that is about. I think Zach came out with a couple of videos that he had to take them down. So, you know, that talked about a previous lawsuit with Jake and one of his companies or whatever. And apparently maybe what he said wasn't true. I'm not sure, because they did take the video down. I saw a little bit of the video, as a matter of fact. And I just was like, I hope what he's saying is true and not like a lie, because this is not going to be good if it's not true. And so my thing is, okay, you called it a scam. Now you're not calling it a scam. Who gets to determine that, right? This is why I say that everybody need to, I believe so. Absolutely. I believe so. All right. And so, and you see a lot of these, coins. I mean, obviously we're looking at the utility, parts of them, you know what I mean? But when crypto was being labeled as a scam, that usually wasn't based on a deep analysis of crypto, XRP, or whatever. Most of the time it was just, listen, when mainstream media says something is a scam, usually it's the reaction of three different things. Number one, volatility. Number two, unfamiliar technology. And number three, a loss of control over how money normally works. And this is not, unique to crypto at all. Okay. So historically, and I'm always looking at the history of this. Historically, whenever a new system starts to challenge an old one, the first response is not curiosity. It's not, how can I discover what this world looks like? It is dismissal. Most of the time, we're going to dismiss something that's challenging a old version of something, even the old version of ourselves. Calling something a scam is a way to shut down the conversation before it gets uncomfortable. And you know what a scam narrative does? And I'm not saying some things aren't scams. You got to do your due diligence. But what mainstream media telling people that crypto was a scam did was it kept people from asking deeper questions. So you just not even going to ask because media said it's a scam. You're not going to try to figure it out, right? Then number two, it kept everyday participants on the sideline. So now, yeah, you got all these institutions involved and you know what I mean? People moving forward, but people still over here, right? Because they still looking at price. And what it does is if the media come out and say something is a scam, it buys time for institutions to start studying and preparing. That's what they did, right? That's exactly what they did. Thank you. I appreciate you, Life with Mickey. I hope that's not Mikey. Mickey. I think so. Thank you. I appreciate you. Right. And so the media doesn't usually lead structural change. It reflects what's already safe to talk about. So by the time they come out and say, oh, it's the coin of the year, that's, you know what I'm saying? There's already positioning happening. And I just did a video yesterday about the wealth transfer and how it happens. And people are looking for this big boom and stuff. No, it's happening right under your noses right now today. And you're not going to be positioned. So, and so when we had these infrastructures starting to get built, and risk starts coming down behind the scenes, the narrative is always going to change. Okay. So we cannot rely on headlines and media to tell us what is going on. We have to do our due diligence, right? What's your thoughts on Flare if XRP begins to make to take more of the market? Well, Flare is already using X. I mean, is already has a network where you can wrap XRP in Flare. Because I got, I've said it before. I have some XRP wrapped in Flare, making a profit now. You know what I mean? So it's I don't know if Flare. I personally don't think Flare is going to be available for ever on the market to be able to buy it, right? And so the scam mentality equals opportunity loss. And that's going to be the case for a lot of people. Now, this is what I really believe, right? Because honestly, the narrative did not, I don't think the narrative of crypto changed because crypto proved itself. That's not what happened, y'all. Y'all got to pay attention to this. That is not what happened. Crypto didn't just prove itself. It did nothing. It's already been what it's going to be. The utility case for some of these, not the meme coins, y'all. I'm talking about utility-based coins. That's going to be that's going to have adoption. The reason why this story started to change is because the cost of not having an alternative got too high. And I think institutions know that, right? So we are in an environment where money is being created faster than productive growth. I talk about this also in my video from yesterday. That means that inflation is not an accident, y'all. It is a feature. It's a feature. Oh, I appreciate you. Keep up the amazing content, sis. I've been showing your videos to my Crypto for Life YouTube lives. Thank you. Thanks for all you do for the XRP community. I love it. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I will continue to do so. Yes. And Happy New Year to you and yours. And so it's a feature. I think inflation is a feature at this point. And once y'all, you have to understand. Again, I talked about this in my video from yesterday. Go back and watch it because inflation has become structural, y'all. It has become structural. This is what it's going to be, right? Printing money. And every traditional place people used to park their money is going to break down for different reasons and different ways. It's going to break down. Cash, y'all, look at what it is. Cash is losing value by design. Bonds is losing value. When inflation stays elevated, bonds are going to lose value. Stocks work until they don't because they're claims on systems that kind of still settle slowly. And then you got the carrying of counterparty risk with that, right? So the system runs into a problem that it just can't get out of at some point. Find out what the XRP ledger is really capable of. This is where XRPL, the ledger, is going to enter into the picture. And most people not paying attention to that. And it's not built to replace a system. I keep saying this. It's not that it just replaces it, but it was built. The XRP ledger is built because it cannot scale the system. The system cannot scale safely the way it currently works. It's not going to happen, right? So think about just with anything in business. When you're trying to scale from 2x to 10x, the 2x way don't work anymore. So if there is to be a scaling and advancing that happens, or if there's to be stress to the structure, those old traditional systems don't work when there is stress involved. And there will be manufactured stress. I keep saying nothing I say is financial advice. But at a certain scale, the risk of not moving becomes greater than the risk of adopting something new. That's why I'm trying to tell you guys, like, the biggest risk is you just sitting there while all of this stuff play out and you just looking at the price thinking like, well, it ain't, it's like looking at Amazon back in the 1990s or the 1980s around, let's say 2000 and looking at it still, it's still at this price. Like you can't see the bigger picture of where this thing is going. It's like looking at some of these. And you know what? Let me say this because this is also connected to the price. And I want y'all to understand, right? Glad to see some of my XRP family in here supporting the brilliant sister. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes. Let me say this so y'all can get clarity. Please get clarity. Let me just say this. Just hear me out, y'all. Like the video, by the way. Stop thinking every time Ripple makes a move that is going to make XRP move. Y'all look at Brad Garling. Y'all look at the CEO of Ripple or CFO or partners or business partners or anything to do with Ripple, and then you're like, oh well, Ripple just did this and the price didn't move. Let me clear this up. XRP is not a security. It is not connected to it. And if it did move based on that, it would be looked at as a security. It's not connected to Ripple in that way. That is a security. That is an Amazon. If the CEO of Amazon or the CEO of Tesla or the CEO of Nvidia, if they make a move or that company does something, the stock moves. Yes, XRP is not a security. It's not going to move based on what Ripple does. It is going to move based on the necessity of it. That was the whole idea of the court case. So it would make it a security if everything that Ripple does, all of a sudden XRP moves, and that could challenge it if that were the case, because then it would be counterproductive, because it would be showing that XRP is a security. And that was the whole point of the lawsuit. So it's a lot of people that's like, oh, XRP, it still ain't moving. The price still ain't moving. It's not going to move because it's not a security. And thank you so much, Dig the Voice. I like that name. Everyone knows ISO 222 by ISO TC 307 and ISO 24165, and Nice Rabbit Holes, XRP, XDC, XLM, HBAR, Quad, IOTA, and a few others are the new rails. I love this. I love this. And I appreciate you for sharing this. And yeah, it is a rabbit hole. Let's go down it. So I wanted to share that because some people are still looking for the price to move based off of that. Now, I also want to say this, because of the fact that it's not a security, it sits above everything else until the Clarity Act. XRP has an advantage above everything else because it has that security, because it's not moving with Ripple. Ripple can go and hey, Ripple is doing its thing. I mean, they doing their thing, okay? Ripple is moving and shaking, and I love what they're doing. Now, some people don't like what, you know what I'm saying, how they move in with, the ownership of XRP and stuff like that, but they just got full regulatory clarity in the UK. There is nowhere now that they can't operate. They just got like I said, a license in the UK. So they are, man, they're moving it on, right? So I do believe XRP is like silver and gold, a commodity grade level. And it's going to act as such. I think it's going to decouple from Bitcoin. That is me. Nothing I say is financial advice. You ain't got to follow what I'm saying. All right. Truly appreciate that. We're going to rock and roll on Monday in our live, right? Let's see. Do you think Jay Claver's strategy of only buying XRP is a good idea? He believes in buying the crypto with strongest use case, institutional adoption, and potential price appreciation. It is his strategy. Because and everybody has to know what their reason for why they have the strategy that they have. So he has this strategy because he thinks it'll move first. He also has a strategy to take profit or to roll or to borrow against and diversify in other things. So for him, it's the fastest movement. It's the thing that's going to get him wealth the quickest. And so and he believes in the macro events playing out because of whatever conversations he's had with people. Again, this is his reasoning, right? And so he believes it's his quickest ticket. And then when that ticket goes where it needs to go, he's going to then diversify into other commodities. So it is his strategy. I can't say that one person's strategy is good for, he's younger. Okay. So if you're someone older, maybe that's not a good strategy for you. You know what I'm saying? It's just like telling somebody, do you want to do dividends or do you want to do growth stocks? Well, if you're older, you may want to do a little bit more dividends because you don't have as long to live in a growth stocks with growth stocks, and growth stocks are more volatile. So you're going to have to go through ups and downs when you're doing growth stocks. And so if you're younger, you have that time to go through the volatility. It's not as scary, but if you're older and you're looking for that money to come through, then that might be a problem. And so if you're older, you may want to go more with dividends and less with growth stocks. If you're younger, you may want to go more with growth stocks and less dividends. You know what I'm saying? So it just depends on your age, your risk tolerance, how much money you got, how early you started investing, what your retirement plans are, what your wants are in life, because everybody don't want to be wealthy. Okay. They just like, okay, I can live off of a little bit of this or that. So it really, everybody's plan is different, and you got to come up with the right strategy and the reason why you have the plan that you have. Okay. So I can't say maybe his plan is good for him. It's good for his psyche. It's good for his, like, I don't believe that you should pay off. I won't pay off a house that I stay in. That's a liability to me. That's not an asset. But for some people, they're like, I can't sleep good at night. I want to pay this house off. So for their psychology to help them to sleep at night, by all means, do whatever you got to do to sleep well at night. Okay. But everybody has a different plan. Thank you. I appreciate this, Breton. Let's see, price was higher before ETFs with a few billion on exchanges, now less on exchanges, lower price. Please explain. Well, first of all, there's a lot of manipulation. Second of all, you have institutions that do want to position. So you need a supply. There needs to be things to happen for XRP to wind up going up in price, right? We're still, again, we're analyzing this based off of price and price alone. That's just like saying, I mean, look at how volatile the stock market can be. Donald Trump gets up and he has a tariff announcement, and all of a sudden the stock market tank. You know what I'm saying? Like, crypto is volatile. And the reason why this is still happening is because it's still coupled to Bitcoin. So all of crypto is kind of still coupled to Bitcoin, meaning the movement of Bitcoin is moving the crypto market. All right. But when you have a stock that decouples from Bitcoin, then there'll be a difference. So something like the ETFs is not going to necessarily move XRP, but the supply and demand shock will move XRP, meaning that if all of the supply is gone off of the OTC and the dark pool, and all of a sudden, there is a situation where XRP is needed. Remember, it's going to move by necessity if it's needed. And then all of it is, or you got BlackRock coming out with an ETF, and it moves more of the supply off or available, so it's not circulating, so people can get to it. And then all of a sudden they go to the exchanges, and there's a need for it, and now there's a supply shock because there's not enough demand, but there's not enough supply for the demand that's available. And so, but there has to be a situation that occurs to want that demand. Okay. Meaning that XRP has to be a solution to some kind of catastrophic event. And that's why, believe it or not, y'all, the reverse carry trade is still unwinding, right? So if something were to happen, if oil were to spike, not in the US, but in the yen, okay? If oil were to spike and Japan was to say, hey, we need an emergency meeting because we need to raise we need to raise the percentages. I think the last one was they raised it 75 point or something like that. But if they were to do an emergency raise of their percentage, and then that would start to cascade the unwinding, because now if they raise their prices, right, then it's going to become more for people to hold the debt that they have over in Japan. And by the way, Japan, they stock market started moving like a meme, because they up like almost like 200%, 175% since we've taken over Venezuela. I'm sorry, not Japan, but Venezuela's stock market has just been booming. But there are geopolitical issues that are at hand that could cause that oil spike. And so people would need to unwind the trade by, cashing out of all of their assets. And honestly, the first asset that people are going to cash out of is risk on assets. Right. And so that would cause a tank in the stock market, of course. And then there would be a need for fast settlement. Like, XRP has to be in a situation where there's a necessity and there's not enough demand left. And the exchanges will be the last place that they go to. And when all of that is done, it would have to be repriced because there are no more sellers at those levels. And so, and now they don't want slippage with that. So it would have to be repriced because they would need certainty over the slippage, over the uncertainty at lower prices. That's just what happens. It would reprice itself. But again, it has to be a situation where there is a strong demand for it and there's not enough supply left, right? That is going to come from a necessity, from something unwinding, and it has to happen all at once, in a sense. So yeah, it's not about the ETFs. Okay. Thank you so much. Checking to see if you ever went over. I did. I went over it in our live membership. So I have the video there that I give my thoughts on that when I talk about my 5 assets, and I talk a little bit about it. And it's doing some very innovative. It's super innovative. I love it. You're talking about like payroll innovation. I mean, to be able to go from like getting paid, like having to wait, it's all about, this whole transition is all about finding a solution for all the financial delays, money sitting idle, not being able to move, you know what I'm saying? Money tied up. Like that on a larger scale, that becomes a huge problem. So if you got a payroll innovation that all of a sudden, where instead of getting paid every week or every 2 weeks or every month, you can get paid in real time, like while you're doing the work, man, that is so creative to me. So I love what they're doing, but I did talk about it, and I'll talk about it a little bit more also. XRP just all good from UK just passed FCA regulations, and that's tough to do. Yes. Yeah. So y'all again, you're looking at the price connected to, let us know when there's an easier way to receive dividends or yield on our XRP. Flair's way is it is too complicated. It is. And I will, because there's a lot of banks that are going to give these services. So I'll keep you up to breast with that. And I'll keep you up to breast with what what some of these brokerage companies are doing, because they have been reaching out to me. I've already had some meetings. I've had some meetings with Caleb and Brown. I Trust Capital has reached out to me. I know that they're going to be doing some things. So I'm going to be working with some of them in partnership and getting that education to you, because I'm like, hey, yeah, my community wants to know who bringing the yield, who bringing the yield. Okay. who's going to allow our money to make some money. So there's a lot of accounts that are reaching out and in partnership. And they're doing some amazing things. So I will help you out with that, William. So I love that. All right. I keep telling my people, thank you guys so much, by the way. Thank you guys for all of the blessing that you're giving me. I keep telling my people about XRP, but they keep looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm going to be, it's going to be a lot of hurt feelings. Yeah. And it is going to be a lot of hurt feelings, because again, they are looking at the value of XRP based off the price, and they're not looking at the necessity and the utility. If you look, just all y'all got to do is look at the utility of XRP. If you don't believe in it and you don't have conviction on it, by all means, invest in what you got conviction on. Okay. But I understand XRP, and I'm not going to get to all of these questions. I understand XRP in a different way. Do you think XRP? I haven't looked at their chart, so I don't know where it'll dip to. I don't even know where it's at right now, because I just dollar cost average. So for me, if I want something like SHX, because I'm long term, I don't look a lot at like, oh, I got to wait for it to get to this price or that price. When I'm dollar cost averaging, I just buy it, and I just buy more of it as it goes down lower. It's the same way I'm doing with XRP. Like, I have very, very low orders for even a crash. I have a lot of limit orders for a crash, for XLM, for XRP, for AVAX. I mean, I have for a lot, even for stocks. All right. But I don't wait for those to happen. Now, if it does happen, I'm going to buy more when there's a crash, when there's a pullback, when there's a recession. However, did I miss your super chat question? Give it to me, DC. I'm so sorry about that. I don't know if I saw it. But I'm gonna wait for you. Okay. Yeah, so I just dollar cost average when I'm long on something. It's very easy. Now, if you're trying to make do a swing trade, you got to be very precise about where you buy, but I'm not swinging it, or I'm not looking to make a profit. I'm long on SHX. So I just dollar cost average. Thank you. I appreciate you. Life with Mikey. Oh, I one of those. Life. Yeah, I keep going back and forth with that name. I'm looking for DC to ask his question, because I missed his super chat. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna be able to answer all of these questions. I like Telcoin, but I don't have a lot of Telcoins, Swade. I missed yours too, James. Just ask it again. I'm looking for both you guys, James and DC. If you want utility, look at the account set activity on XRP scan. Something is building. Absolutely. I mean, you can see something is building with the positioning that's going on. All right. My super chat Q was high IQ, good. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. High IQ, good communicator, and beautiful triple threat. What do you think about quant? I love quant. I like quant. And I did talk about quant last Monday. And the interesting thing about quant is that I thought that I just bought it this in 2025 for the first time. And I looked at some of my old cold wallets, because I am so long that I have bought crypto over 5 years ago, and I just left it sitting. And I realized quant is like the fourth cryptocurrency that I ever bought. I think it was like number 4. I know Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP were the top 3. And then maybe quant was 5. And then I think it was ADA. And then I think it was quant, number 5. And so I had a lot of quant in storage that I bought at a really, really good price. But quant is in my top. Okay. Quant is in my top, because I'm zooming down, and I talk about this in one of my videos for my members. I'm zooming in because I don't want to just buy off of hype and all of that. I will be buying a lot more cryptocurrency, only utility-based coins. but I want to zoom in on the macro. I want to know the coins that I hold in a deep way, in an educational way, and so that I can have conviction about it. All right. The Clarity Act is frustrating a lot of XRP holders due to Congress midterms, but the reality is, PJ Chair, XRP shines more before the Clarity Act because it has an advantage because it went through the court case and that it is not a security. So if there was ever an event that would happen, XRP is the chosen one because it has regulatory clarity in a sense on its own because it went through the court case, whereas all the others don't yet. Now, granted, yeah, the Clarity Act is going to help all of the coins, but before the Clarity Act, XRP has an advantage because it went through regulatory clarity with the court case, technically. And so it sits above the rest. It sits above the rest. Okay. So I mean, I'm waiting for the Clarity Act because, man, that's gonna open up the whirlwinds. I mean, that's gonna open up the heavens, basically. So I love it because it's gonna give rules and regulations, and some institutions will not buy in until the rules are set. Okay. But until then, XRP shines. So I ain't worried about it, but it's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? Nice surprise. Crypto wallets are fun. Absolutely. And when you long, you're not worried about like, oh, what is it today? What is it today? I don't use XRP as a trade, you guys. I did a video on that. XRP to me is not a trade. And I don't think XRP is a trade to institutions. They are positioning. It's nice to check the cold wallet and be reminded of how long we stay. Yeah, that's what I did. That's what I did. The Get Say Ray. I love it. I went back and I'm like, I was looking at some of my old cold wallets that I didn't pay no attention to, you know what I mean? Because I knew that this was long term, and then boom. Yeah, we'll see what comes of it. I don't really know much about what's going on either end, but I do, like I said, know that Zach came out with some videos. They are taken down now. And I guess Jake and his lawyers got on top of things and said, listen, because there was some strong allegations. I don't know if you guys saw it, but it was some very strong allegations. And I don't live in a house, so I don't know what went wrong, what went on with conversations and all of that. And I choose to kind of stay out of giving my opinion on that because I have no idea. But I was saying, if you gonna state this, you better make sure that this was all the way correct, because when somebody has something to lose and they can prove that, like Jake has a lot to lose because he got like 18,000 people in his mastermind, and he got the digital wealth partners and all of the billions of dollars that he manages and stuff like that. So when you have somebody who can lose from that, then the allegations, it's one thing if you're trying to sue somebody and you ain't got nothing, you got $5 in your bank account trying to sue you ain't got nothing to lose. Ain't nobody studying what you got, you know what I'm saying? But if you can prove that there was damage given, then yeah, that becomes an issue. So somebody said lawsuit equals legit. Yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. Okay, I got you. My super chat question was, what do you feel about Zaman? I don't even know how to pronounce that one. Offering FXRP yield on XRP. Should we wait? Is it safe? The thing is, I don't know if it'll be safe. You know what I mean? Like, here's what you got to know. All of this stuff has risk to it. Even me wrapping XRP and Flare, it has risk. It's in a pool. Somebody could hijack it or whatever. And there has been that before. You know what I'm saying? Even with, some of the pools that you put your money in, there is risk to it. And so you got to understand that only time will tell. You know what I mean? You look at certain exchanges and you see, like the Ledger just there was some a breach of information, something to do with some emails being released or whatever with the Ledger. You know what I mean? So time will tell, but you kind of got to get the historic gathering of, okay, how many times has Kraken? I don't think Kraken has had any issues or whatever, or how many times has Coinbase been compromised or whatever. All of this stuff has risk. So I don't know quite yet, just like I don't know about, how much risk the Flare wrap will have. I know that if my money is in the pool and is making yield, and I know that there is some risk involved. So the best thing you can do is really just follow, stay on top of it, get all the information you can about it, research about it, and just see if this is something, and then find out if other people are doing the same thing and what their outcomes have been, because that's the only way you'll know. But even putting your money on a brokerage, on an exchange, even in a cold wallet, I even went over this. I'm like, okay, here's the risk to an exchange. Here's the benefits and the risk. Then here's the benefits and the risk to a cold wallet. Then here's the benefits and the risk to having it in a brokerage account. You know what I mean? And so, but that's why I like a little bit of diversity. I don't like having all my stuff in one cold wallet, just like that man who lost $3 million worth of XRP in one cold wallet. And so I have a strategy that reduces my risk. It's just like being diversified with your assets. You know what I'm saying? It's all about how are you hedging your risk with all of this. Okay. I'm testing a small amount wrapped in Flare, by the way. So I'm not going to, you know what I mean? As I'm learning about it, as I'm getting the research and the data and seeing how the yields are working for other people, I'm getting all of that and I scale in. I don't like throwing my stuff all into one thing at all. I like scaling in and scaling out, scaling in and scaling out. So absolutely, absolutely. Let's see. I went over ZBEC. Like I said, I went over that in my membership live, and I talked about the innovation with payroll, doing some amazing things, by the way, but it's not necessarily a part of my strategy because my strategy is operating with like fast settlement, and they're in the payroll innovation. So, but they're doing some amazing things, and I'll learn a little bit even more about it. Yeah, and you know what, this is so true, Rob. Clarity after passes, when it passes, it's not going to change things overnight. Institutions will need time for the legal terms to review the new laws and change policies, equal months. It could be a year, you know, it could be more. Like, yeah, it's going to take some time. But I do think that may just make people more comfortable. Some people may even FOMO in, but I think XRP gets to high digits for different reasons other than the Clarity Act. I don't see XRP going as fast to high digits through the Clarity Act. I see it doing it through a real need, an emergency, on an emergency based, in an emergency based way. So, so I don't, you know what I mean? I think the Clarity Act, I love it. I think it's going to do very well in the long run, and that's why I'm bullish. But again, XRP to me sits above everything else until that happens. Yep. XRP shines more before the Clarity Act because XRP has an advantage. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Somebody said Jake will win. I think his lawyers, if I'm not mistaken, his lawyers are the same lawyers for, I can't remember the actors or actresses. There's some good lawyers, whoever they are. New member, I'm gonna see you on Monday. I'm just going through some of the comments. Yeah, you know, you know what? And let me just say this real quick. Just so you guys can know about the XRP ledger, and then, you know, I won't keep you guys too much. I actually got to head out. My daughter is doing a cheerleading competition, so we have a drive to make. But XRP, the XRPL was designed for more than like an uncomfortable reality, which some people are just, I don't know how they're viewing it. But the existing financial system is not going anywhere. Okay, so that's not, again, it's not being replaced, it's not going anywhere, but it just can't function the same way either. So the XRPL to me sits in that middle space. It's not like asking permission to exist as a speculative asset, of course, but it's positioning itself as a tool that the system can use when the pressure shows up. So it is meant for stress. You know what I mean? Like, and a lot of people are arguing about that. People are arguing a lot about like decentralization as an ideology when the system is thinking in terms of operational risk. That's what this is all about. And then you got other people arguing about whether Ripple holds too much supply, where institutions care more about distribution, control, and reliability. That's what they're looking at. And then you got other people arguing about whether XRP holders is going to win. The system is just wondering, settlement. Can settlement happen without breaking nothing else? That's all we care about. And if you just make it simple, like I try not to make this complicated, because the XRP ledger is not competing for narrative dominance. It's not about that. It is competing for relevance under stress. If I can just simplify it like that, it just makes it very simple. That is all that they're competing for, right? And when you talk about this narrative shifting from, oh, this is a scam or whatever, the narrative does not flip because, again, crypto became safe. It flipped because ignoring it became risky. And that's what people going to find out. And I think people on a personal level going to find out like that they took more of the risk not paying attention to it or whatever. But again, you got to, you know, be long-minded. XRP will move. There's a liquidity issue, otherwise end of 2027. Yeah. If there's it just boils down to that. If there is a liquidity issue, XRP will moon. It doesn't moon any other way. Okay. Otherwise, yeah, give it some time. And but we're long-term. We long-term. If you think it could get to a 5,000% return in 10 years, that is a great investment, y'all. Right? You got to go back and look at my video because it's locked up only for members, and you are a member, so you have access to that. It's the last video I did just last Monday. Okay. And I talked about what my 5 assets are for now and why I chose them. Um, yeah, absolutely. I am. So I definitely am. All right. Thank you so much. I'm getting to some of these. Bill Perry, I appreciate you. And then I see another one. You're doing a great work. Keep it up. Remember, in January 2013, Bitcoin went from $15 to 1,000. And that's the thing. XRP will move rapidly once usage increase at scale. Thank you for that. And I believe that. And you know what? That's what people don't realize. I'm like, why do y'all think that things could not happen? I'm not saying they will happen for sure, but why do you all think they would not happen? Do you understand the type of returns that crypto has had in the past? Like, if it's one thing that can make something like that happen, it is digital currency. All right. And again, I'm not saying that that's the case, but I'm just saying it's not hard to imagine. Like, there was even XRP has had some crazy gains within a year. You know what I'm saying? Thousands of percent. Do you think you should keep your long-term investment separate from your short-term investment in cold wallets? Yeah, I think so. I think it would be smart to do, but even for short term, a lot of people will keep their short term on the exchange because they are trying to trade it. It's easy. I mean, you can or cannot. It's up to you how you want to organize things. Everybody organizes very differently. You know, it's to me easy to move the cold wallet. I mean, it don't take nothing but a moment to move from the cold wallet to, you know, the exchange, you know, for short term. But I'll be honest and say most people keep their short term on the exchanges. All right. And then, like, you know, even with my brokerage accounts, I like things organized. So I don't have everything. I have like a section for ETFs. I have a section for my Magnificent Seven. I call them Magnificent 10, my blue chip companies. I have a separate one for my growth stocks. I have a separate one for like energy stocks. So it depends on how organized you want to be. Some people have all their stuff together. And I'm like, well, how do you know which portfolio is doing? You can't, the analytics of this is going to be kind of complicated because you got your growth and speculative and high risk stocks mixed with your blue chip stocks. And so I don't like that because I need to see how well are my growth stocks performing and my tech stocks or my volatile stocks or my speculative stocks, how well are these growing? So I kind of like a little bit more organization for the sake of analytics because I'm a researcher and I just like to see how things are performing. And so it's all about how anal you are about all of that stuff. So the only clarity XRP has is what it is not what it is. Yeah, that's true. You know, but what it is not allows it to be a little bit more attractive in the event of an emergency, because you got to remember, in an emergency, people are not looking for regulation. They are looking for a solution. Like in an emergency, people are not picky about stuff like that. If you had an emergency right now and you got cut or something and you was out on the fit, like you, whatever can help stop the bleeding, whatever, you know, you're not looking at like, no, this isn't going, you know what I mean? Like if you out in the woods and you get shot or something, like something else that can work, you gonna make it work. You know what I'm saying? Like you gonna make whoever work. You're not looking at like if somebody, a stranger come trying to help you, you know, like, wait a minute, you a stranger, stay away. No, you like, I need help. I'm dying. I need to, you know what I'm saying? Go get that, whatever that cloth is right there. Take that shirt off your back and wrap it around my leg, you know? So you got to look just on a, you know, I'm just trying to be simple with this. Like if there was an emergency, they're not looking for like, oh, is the legal paper? No, they like, okay, this works. We've already tested it and it works. Let's use it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's an emergency. So people tend to measure things differently when there is an emergency. Okay. So I hope that makes sense. All right. I don't think I'm gonna, oh, okay. Wait, hold on one more second. I go against the grain a little bit and keep a little bit on Uphold there, federally insured as far as my understanding. Yes, and actually, William, I do have some crypto on Uphold as well, and they have a vault. So you can move it, which is like more like, I guess, closer to like a hot wallet kind of. It's just another layer. So you can move it from the Uphold into the vault to get that second layer of protection. But it's almost like, it's like, how can I explain this? You know, when you're on the exchange, they own the keys. So say you have two keys on the exchange, they own the two keys. But let's say you put it in a vote, like you go from the Uphold regular into the vote, then it's like you own a key and then they own a key. So both of y'all own a key. So it's a little bit more protection, but it's not like complete protection. You know what I'm saying? Like a cold wallet, it's like you own, so a cold wallet is like you own the two keys. The exchange is they own the two keys. And then if you put it into a vote, it's like they own one key and you own one key. Okay. So that's how I'll explain that. All right. All right. Okay. Thank you guys always for rocking with me. Remember also that the link is in the description if you are interested in Stock Up University. It teaches you how the markets work for sure. Like it's the most practical financial educational platform I've ever seen. And I mean that because I've been through it myself. It helps you with cycles, structure, how liquidity moves, risk, positioning. And you will get very intelligent and educated if you go through that course. And then also don't forget the link to the coaching program is inside the description as well. We talk about assets, but we also talk about how to position intelligently across money, health, life, because the systems are changing. And I think that evolution on our end for what we know and how we move needs to change too. I think the next phase isn't about chasing every single opportunity, but it's about preparing enough to recognize the right ones when they show up. Okay. And that level of selectivity is going to be important for the days ahead. All right, so the link is in the description for that. And also I have a link for the I Trust Capital. I'll give you some information on the brokerages. I'm partnering with them. Like I said, I had a very great conversation with Caleb and Brown, and I love them. Their concierge is amazing. The next members, let's see, take care everyone. It was a question. Okay. The next member meeting will be Monday evening. I usually do it somewhere around 7:30ish. It's right after the main live that I do. I do a main live every Monday evening, somewhere around 6 p.m. And then right after that, I'll go on with my members. And so I always go in there, answer questions, add more value, and keep you up to date with even personal things that I don't share with the community. I thank you guys all for being here. Please make sure you like the video before I head out. And as always, I want you to stay wise, stay wealthy, and I'll see you guys in the next video. And thank you so much for that. I like MC Light. I grew up off her. All right. Peace out, y'all.